Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 4 of the Monday Q&A, so let's get it done. After taking a deload week, do you go back to the numbers you were doing before the deload, or do you ramp up to what it was? I don't know. What sort of training programming are you doing? I have no way to answer that, because it depends on how you're programming your training, what sort of progression pattern you're doing, what sort of periodization you're doing. I don't know if you've been running a program to where you're increasing volume as you go, or if you're reducing volume and increasing weight. I don't know what sort of system you're using for progression. And obviously, when you've done planned overreaching and then you take a scheduled deload after planned overreaching, obviously you're not going to go back to your peak overreaching workload numbers. You're going to probably reduce and ramp back up again. Whereas if you're doing a system to where you're reducing intensity, like the reverse of a linear periodization, and you're increasing workload as you go, you're going to be lifting heavier after the deload when you come back. Now, if you're just doing deloads because you have to do them in your training, you may come back and pick right back up where you left off, or you may slightly reduce and then ramp back up. You might start with the same weights, but maybe reduce the total workload. It depends on how you're programming your training, and that is not a straightforward one-size-fits-all type of question and answer. It all depends on how you're programming your workouts. All right, next question. I pulled my gluteus whilst deadlifting. How to fix that? Massaging, foam rolling, stretching, or... Well, I can tell you right now, if you have pulled a muscle and you start stretching and foam rolling on it, that's probably the stupidest thing you could possibly do. Well, maybe shooting it with a nail gun might be stupider than foam rolling it. But if you think about it, you have a muscle pull. A muscle pull is a minor tear. You have torn the muscle. It just isn't a bad tear. And you start applying mechanical tension, such as a foam roller or stretching, but the foam roller being a stronger version, to where you are applying mechanical tension to pull the muscle fibers further apart. They're already torn. You're just going to make the tear worse. You're going to make the tear worse. You're going to cause more internal bleeding in the tear site. You're going to make the injury worse. You shouldn't even consider doing that. What you need to do is apply heat to it, apply rest to it. If you're an enhanced lifter, obviously you're going to want to pin things into it that most athletes use to speed up injury healing. There are standard procedures for that. I'm going to assume you don't know about any of that. I'm not going to cover that in this video. But in the sports world, we deal with injuries with drugs. But for the more recreational lifter who's not doing that, no, you need to do heat, rest. Don't put any strain on it. Let it heal. And for the love of God, do not put a foam roller on a pulled muscle. All right, next question. J-Lad, do the top pro bodybuilders and top powerlifters and strongmen use the same types of drugs? No, they do not. In fact, you can look at different guys who are competing against each other at the exact same event, not even going cross sport here, and you're going to find their drug stacks vary massively. Massively. And even in bodybuilding, you'll have some guys who are just of certain genetic predispositions. You'll see guys on the bodybuilding stage who literally run nothing but high doses of testosterone with letrozole and maybe some proviron thrown in. And then you'll see the other guy who he's competing against, and they're competing for the exact same spot, will be blasting tons of dry compounds with no test in his system at the end. Guy will be blasting Tren, Masteron, Proviron, Primobolan, Halotestin, all of that stuff together, all at the same time. Complete opposite ends of the spectrum, and they'll be competing against each other. You get into powerlifting, you run into the same sort of situations. No, people's drug stacks and drug combinations vary massively. And in fact, I know, and I'm not going to say who they are, I know the drug stacks of 2 current world record holders, raw world record holders in powerlifting, because I know coaches who work with them, and I know their meet prep stacks, and they literally look nothing alike. You wouldn't even think they are competing in the same sport if you looked at their 2 different drug stacks. They are both raw powerlifting world record holders. They compete in the exact same thing, just different weight classes. So absolutely not. Alright guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.